Hello connoisseurs, it is I, Brando, and I have returned from my JonTron-length absence to deliver more YouTube videos to appease you and the eldritch horror that is the algorithm. Lately, I've been having these nightmares where my hundreds of backlog items speak sweet nothings to me and my wallet in the night. So to combat this, I got a random number generator to release a demon from the horde. And it spat out Crysis 2 from 2011. So that's where this video hails from, and boy, this game should have never left the backlog nest. Full disclosure, I've never played the original Crysis, and as far as I'm concerned, the original Crysis is my social anxiety and depression, so... Crysis 2 is a very gray-filtered, kinda lackluster first-person shooter that is supposed to be the sequel to the similarly titled PC game that stood next to the pearly gates of gamer rig heaven and judged all who entered. I originally bought the game sometime around 2012 or 13 because I thought it looked cool, or something. So, why is it in my backlog? Well, even back then, after a mere 2 hours into the campaign, I just ended up asking myself, what's the point? And I turned it off and played something more interesting to me, like Mass Effect 3 or whatever game-induced dopamine roller coaster I was hooked on. Oddly enough, my opinion, after playing through the entirety of Crysis 2's campaign, is largely the same. What is the point of Crysis 2? The original Crysis seems to be not only a benchmark for how much your PC could lift, but from what I understand, there was also a competent game underneath. I'm not sure the same could be said about Crysis 2, even if I compared it to the standards of FPS games that were around at the time it was originally released. But, right, this could just be my own biases and preferences taking center stage, though all the same, I hope you find this review entertaining, in the least. So, my connoisseurs, here's what you're in for. I'll go over some of my gripes, then I'll give you a very accurate rendition of the story, all while spouting jokes and memes. Then we can get into some gameplay after that and wrap this up in a tortilla and give it to the next customer in line for that 5-layer burrito. The world is in a crisis, you could say. Crysis 2 is a first-person shooter, so it's not great for my biggest gripe to be with the actual shooting. Aiming down sights is a completely inaccurate, unfortunate mess because it doesn't turn down your mouse sensitivity when you're scoped in. Sure, I could turn the sensitivity down, but I'm usually working with a mouse pad area that's literally 3 sauce packets wide, so even if I did want to drag my mouse to Canada to 360 no-scope and alien, that's not really achievable. So I just rocked a shotgun the whole time. Maybe it's not broken when playing on controller and console, maybe this is a localized issue with my setup or perhaps has an easy community fix or something, but that's not my problem, I'm just reviewing it like it was for me. My other biggest complaint is that Crysis 2 just feels meh. Every idea seems uninspired or related to something that I've already seen done to death in gaming and other mediums. But it's been a while, Brando. Sure, so maybe that's with the context that I have been alive for many moons since this thing was in development, and more so since its release, but still. Not to mention that the enemies, both human and alien alike, are all pigments of gray, making them blend in with the drab gray backgrounds, which seems to crush any resemblance of uniqueness to their design. The story isn't anything to write home about either, so I'm going to abridge it in its entirety, just for you. And I'll take some creative liberties to make it actually entertaining. But if you just want to get back into the quote-unquote review, you can just skip to the time code, which will also be a chapter on YouTube. I have an idea. On the mod. Oh, please. Yeah! Woo! Player Man, aka codename Alcatraz, is an average everyday soldier fighting in the human vs. alien war of the future when all of a sudden, oh shoot! The submarine he's stationed on is sinking, and he is going to die. But then, a really cool guy with a super suit pulls Player Man out of the wreckage and commits the seppuku, so that the super suit would detach from cool guy's body and morph around Player Man's body to keep him alive. And thus, Alcatraz became the new Crysis. Crysis 2. Because cool guy is nice. Or something. Now, the other big plot point is the aliens brought with them the virus. Now, this virus is extremely contagious and very deadly, killing off humans left and right faster than you could think. So, New York is going under this little evacuation for the healthy. But if you got the virus, then you better just sit down and die already, because there's no cure for it. You can just sit and die. Anyway, so back to the other thing. People didn't like the previous cool guy because he stole the suit or was too powerful or something. I don't know. But they're pissed. So instead of fighting the alien forces, they try and fight Player Man to kill him so they can take the suit off. Which seems like a dumb waste of resources because the nanosuit is like a bajillion dollars. Meanwhile, a little rebel group thinks that Player Man is actually cool guy dude from before. So they contact him and they're like, yo, let's meet up and go over some sick world-saving strats. Or whatever. Player Man is kind of bored and doesn't know how to take the suit off. Oh man. A dude named Alcatraz like prison? But he can take the suit off? Prisoner of the suit, prisoner of the war of the super suit. Anyway, Player Man kinda moseys on over to the rebels to talk strats and kills everything in his way. It's at this time that the military decides, you know what, this whole extraction thing, we just don't have time. Genocide, shoot to kill, you think they got the virus, kill them, on sight, kill them. Meanwhile, Player Man's been communicating with the rebels through this discount Gordon Freeman, who took Duolingo to learn English. Anyway, he's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna go to my ex-girlfriend's apartment because you've been taking too long killing people, and you can get the address to this place over on the computer at the lab, which coincidentally also has some incriminating things on the hard drive. So if you could get in there, destroy the computer, trash it, get out of there and then come meet me, that would be super cool, dude. Man. By the time he gets to the lab, it's too late. The private military is already there and they are pissed. And the suit, which is alive, by the way, is like, oh no, bro. And Player Man escapes and keeps going. Then he's contacted by this big cheese hotshot, and this dude's like, I'm Jeff Bezos, and I made that suit so you actually work for me now. So then Player Man works for him now. Those alien spires are not penises, but they're actually communication relays of the aliens, and you must destroy them by riding up them like cursed in reverse blood-filled water slides, because nanomachines. And Player Man is like, cool. So he hops in, dude. Then you meet up with one of your old squads, and they're like, Player Man, you look different. We're gonna call you Suit Guy because you're wearing that dumb suit. So Player Man sticks with the squad for a while, they fight with some aliens, it's whatever. Then there's this subplot that we're just gonna skip right over about evacuating the city that doesn't eventually happen anyway, so it's whatever. Fast forward and Player Man has been captured again. $1 billion suit gets captured twice, I don't know, don't ask. And Jeffrey Bezos is there and he's like, I need your suit. This suit is my suit and I want it off of your body. And then this lady comes in the room and she's like, this guy's insane. Can you go to his house? He's been stuck in his room all day and he won't come out. So Player Man kills all the guards on the way to Jeffrey Bezos' house, and that's when the unthinkable is revealed. Spoilers. I'm Jeff Bezos, and I was dead the whole time. Just like Bruce Willis. Anyway, I put my conscience in the computer where I live with my 1 million waifus, and they're all telling me to give you the MacGuffin on the table, because there's no more time. Chuck that in the suit, and you'll win the video game. So Player Man puts the MacGuffin in the suit, and then the suit goes, I've cracked the Konami code and created Fox Die, which will kill all of the aliens if you get into their communication network. And it will also cure the world of the virus. And then Player Man's like, cool. And then Gordon Shudlin is like, hey man, you should jump into one of those big ol' alien dick and fry the relay with the Fox Die that your suit just invented before the government nukes us to Kingdom Pit. Player Man finds the alien relay and climbs into it like a poo entering the sewage pipes. So then the suit is like, hey, do you remember Cool Guy Suit Man from the beginning of the story that may or may not have shot himself? I am an AI, but I am also that man's. And the realization is like, dang. And then boom, nanomachines, son, nanomachines everywhere. And the alien fox die makes all the alien heads freaking die and explode because nanomachines, and also the virus is cured because nanomachine. And also, you are the weapon. Hashtag, be the weapon, be the weapon, be the weapon. If that summary didn't make sense, TLDR, you are the weapon. Forced into a super suit made by the computer ghost of Jeff Bezos, and it was actually also a supercomputer. And your mom, cool guy suit man, and that AI in the suit figured a way to insta-kill the aliens by doing science with your DNA and alien DNA and nanomachines and cure the virus. And that all gets resolved and the war ends because nanomachines go in the big spiky alien communication network, and all the aliens die because you are the weapon. Hashtag be the weapon. So anyway, I mean, the story, it's there, but it's nothing to write home about, as you may or may not have just experienced.
Oh my gosh! Yes! Yes! Oh. Incredible. I could just use it as a bat.
Gameplay is everything you might expect from a story-driven FPS of this time period. Go from point A to point B, shooting stuff. You can have 3 weapons, and you'll slowly accumulate attachments for them as you play the game. Then you can mix and match stuff suited to your playstyle. Most of the time, I ran around with a suppressor on anything I found, and I usually tried to equip scopes, even though I never ended up using them. Usually, I'd try and stockpile a short-range weapon like a shotgun, and then I'd carry around an assault rifle or pistol in case I needed to take on dudes from far away. And I carried around a heavy or fun weapon like a grenade or rocket launcher. Just in case. Topped it off with a nice supply of grenades in my butt pocket. I spec'd out my suit's abilities to help me play up close and personal with a weapon selection like this because I was trying to sidestep the whole ADS or scoping in thing I talked about earlier. Good a time as ever to explain that. There are 2 main suit modes, and the whole concept of suit modes is the gimmick that I think the devs were banking on to make up for the lackluster everything else. I spent most of my time in stealth mode, which makes you temporarily invisible. And I also used a ton of armor mode because it makes you invincible, not to be confused with invisible. These are balanced with suit energy, of which you have a finite amount and it regens over time. There are also some other modes that drain suit energy, one of which is stupidly sprinting, so haha, I basically watched the whole game. And another is infrared/thermal vision, which makes more sense and is more of a helpful tool. Sidebar. The aliens are called Ceph because they are like squibs, aka cephalopods, aka...
Get lost, Squidward.
When they die, they leave behind this nanomachine dust, which you can use to upgrade the suit in ways that kind of affect the gameplay, like see what direction bullets are being shot from. Then there are a couple that increase the efficiency of your suit energy when you're using different suit modes, and those are really the only upgrades worth getting, in my opinion, because you can only select one per category. The rest don't even make the game more interesting or fun. And in the words of the great Reggie,
if it's not fun, why bother?
Some of the more interesting parts of the game have you up against areas full of enemies, and the game tries to convince you that there are multiple ways you can assess the area to take them out and progress. You could try to stealth the area. You could try recon to tag all the enemies in the thermal vision or whatever before you take everyone down. You could try and get more ammo for your guns before the big firefight. But really, the enemy AI is so omnipresent and hyper-vigilant that it never really mattered for me.
Are you kidding me? This is the fetching... the sniper nest.
Roger, Saffron 5. Reinforcements are inbound to your position.
Well, that didn't last long now, did it?
Not that I was too...
Perhaps you could exercise just a
What?
little more caution.
What stealth game? Like,
And then I would activate armor mode and shotgun everything to death before moving on. Very subtle. I would occasionally rip turrets off of their posts and found those to be very OP. There are a couple of damage sponge style bosses, and there are a couple different objectives within these enemy kill zone areas that try and break up the monotony of plain old killing. But it just wasn't enough to make me want to play the game. There weren't any systems or gameplay loops that were satisfying enough to give me the dopamine boost I was looking for to want to play Crysis 2. Honestly, the only reason I finished the darn thing was because I was determined to do a review on it, and How Long to Beat assured me it would be a short 6 to 8 hour experience. And look, here we are. Overall, I can't recommend Crysis 2. Not only are there better FPS games to play that have been released recently, but there are even better FPS games from before Crysis 2 was released that you could probably pick up and have a more fun time with. I have a feeling that the multiplayer was probably a huge chunk of where the game was successful, but with that being dead and with the controls already being bad, I can't see how that would elevate the game experience even if it was alive. And if it is, I have no desire to try. So hopefully this review was entertaining enough. Classification, generic brand. I will be uploading chunks of my Crysis 2 long play on a weekly basis at my second channel, TheNameBrand, where you too can witness me suck at the game, commit light war crimes, go on chaotic unprompted rants about alien ecology, talk about my depressing life and more, just as if I were live. Listen to my podcast Void Arcade, where some buds and I talk about one game per episode and have a chill time. Free me from the shackles of the 9 to 5 by feeding the eldritch horror that is the algorithm by liking, commenting, and or subscribing. And of course, fellow connoisseurs, join me next time, where I'll talk about a good video game that I actually recommend. Also, if you guys could help me kill the spider haunting my stairwell, please. I haven't left in days. Please. Okay, thanks and goodbye.